Listen closely, for history whispers not just tales of triumph, but also solemn warnings, echoing through time, demanding our unwavering attention. Some chapters of our past are so profoundly scarred, so riddled with pain and deceit, that confronting them feels like staring into an abyss. Yet, it is precisely in these dark reflections that we find the most vital lessons, the most urgent calls to remember, to understand, and to ensure that the shadows never again eclipse the light of truth. Today, we delve into one such chapter, the complex, often disturbing, and ultimately illuminating legacy of the Waffen-SS after the Second World War. This is not a story of glory, nor one of simple heroes and villains. Instead, it is a journey through the messy aftermath of a global catastrophe, a testament to the enduring human struggle for justice, the cunning resilience of false narratives, and the ultimate triumph of historical truth over revisionist whispers. It is a story that compels us to confront difficult truths, to peel back layers of carefully constructed myths, and to understand the profound responsibility we each bear in shaping the narrative of our collective past. When the guns fell silent in May 1945, and Nazi Germany crumbled into ruin, a vast human tide was unleashed across a devastated continent. Among them were hundreds of thousands of Waffen-SS soldiers, men who had worn the dreaded double lightning bolts. Now stripped of their power, their ideology shattered, they became a multitude of prisoners of war, confined behind barbed wire, or desperate fugitives melting into the shattered landscapes of a continent ravaged by their regime's brutality. The sheer scale of the collapse meant that individual fates were diverse, yet all were bound by the catastrophic defeat of the cause they had served. The world, reeling from the revelations of the Holocaust and the sheer scale of Nazi atrocities, demanded accountability. In 1946, the Nuremberg tribunal delivered a resounding verdict. The SS, encompassing its military wing, the Waffen-SS, was declared a criminal organization. This declaration was not merely symbolic, it marked a pivotal moment in international justice, setting in motion a vast, unprecedented effort to denazify a nation, to purge its institutions and its populace of the insidious ideology that had plunged the world into darkness. Trials began. Justice, however imperfect, sought its course, aiming to establish a moral framework for a world scarred by unimaginable horrors. The path of justice, however, was rarely straightforward. For many lower-ranking members of the Waffen-SS, often conscripted late in the war or assigned to non-combat roles, the denazification process led to eventual release, albeit with a permanent stain on their records. Their involvement, however reluctant or minor, cast a long shadow over their future. But for the architects of terror, the high-ranking officers and those directly implicated in heinous crimes, the stakes were far higher. Many faced trials, some were condemned to death or long imprisonment, while a cunning few, aided by secretive networks known as ratlins, slipped through the cracks, disappearing into new lives in distant lands, carrying their dark secrets with them, evading the full grasp of justice. In the immediate post-war years, for those who remained in the shattered German landscape, the label of former Waffen-SS carried an immense, inescapable stigma. They were pariahs, often excluded from the burgeoning efforts to rebuild society. Social benefits, employment opportunities, even simple acceptance, were often denied. The weight of collective guilt, justly or unjustly, fell heavily upon them. A stark societal rejection of their former allegiance, and a reflection of the profound moral injury inflicted upon the nation. But as the 1950s dawned, the geopolitical landscape shifted dramatically. The Cold War cast its long shadow, and a new West Germany, a vital bulwark against the perceived Soviet threat from the East, needed to rebuild its society and its armed forces. Pragmatism began to temper the initial uncompromising stance. Gradually, a process of reintegration began. Former Waffen-SS veterans, many of whom had fought on the front lines and possessed valuable military experience, were slowly allowed limited pensions. A very small number, after stringent vetting and a forced renunciation of their past ideology, even found their way into the ranks of the new Bundeswehr, the Democratic Army of West Germany, a testament to the complex compromises made in the name of national rebuilding security and the difficult process of reconciliation. It was in this evolving climate, amidst the quiet struggles for acceptance and the desire to reshape their narrative, that a powerful force emerged. In 1951, a mutual aid association named HIAG, the *Hilfsgemeinschaft auf Gegenseitige der Angehörigen der ehemaligen Waffen-SS * or Mutual Aid Association of former Waffen-SS members, was founded by former Waffen-SS officers. On the surface, it claimed to be a benevolent organization, offering support to its members and their families. But its true, more insidious purpose was far greater: to lobby politically and historically, to rewrite their past, and to rehabilitate their tarnished image. HIAG meticulously crafted and aggressively promoted the myth that the Waffen-SS was nothing more than an apolitical fighting force. Brave soldiers who had simply done their duty unconnected to the monstrous crimes of the Nazi regime, or the SS itself. They sought to cleanse their tarnished image, to reclaim a sense of honor, and to secure a place in post-war society that denied their organization's true nature. For a time, HIAG's influence grew. Throughout the 1960s, their narrative gained traction in certain circles, capitalizing on post-war weariness, a desire for national healing, and the strategic necessities of the Cold War. They published journals, held rallies, cultivated political connections, and even influenced public discourse. But truth, like a persistent current, eventually erodes even the most carefully constructed facades. As the 1970s and 80s progressed, public scrutiny intensified. Historians, journalists, and a new generation unwilling to accept convenient myths began to investigate with renewed vigor. Their meticulous research exposed HIAG's historical revisionism for what it truly was. A deliberate distortion of facts, a calculated attempt to whitewash the brutal realities of the Waffen-SS deep ideological indoctrination and their undeniable complicity in war crimes and atrocities. The call for an honest reckoning with history grew louder and more insistent. Under the relentless weight of evidence and public condemnation, HIAG's power waned, its credibility shattered. In 1992, the organization officially dissolved, a quiet end to a decades-long campaign of historical manipulation. But the dissolution of HIAG did not mean the end of the controversy, nor the end of the Waffen-SS complex and haunting legacy. The echoes of their past continued to resonate, demanding ongoing vigilance and deeper understanding, reminding us that the fight for historical accuracy is a perpetual one. Indeed, new archival evidence, unearthed by dedicated scholars in the decades since, has definitively debunked the myth of a clean Waffen-SS. The notion of an apolitical fighting force has been irrevocably shattered by irrefutable documentation. Detailed studies have revealed the Waffen-SS's deep ideological indoctrination, their active participation in the Holocaust, their involvement in massacres of civilians, and their integral role in the broader machinery of Nazi violence and terror. The truth, stark and undeniable, emerged from the shadows, painting a picture far darker than any revisionist narrative could conceal. This ongoing pursuit of truth by historians is a powerful testament to humanity's commitment to memory and justice. Even today, decades after the war's end, the legacy continues to stir heated debate. Controversies persist, such as the ongoing receipt of state pensions by former Waffen-SS veterans in some countries, a painful reminder for victims and their descendants of the enduring impact of past decisions. And in a stark contrast, that highlights the enduring complexities of history and national identity. Parts of Eastern Europe see some local SS units commemorated, albeit often controversially, as national fighters against Soviet oppression, blurring the lines of perpetrator and patriot in ways that challenge simple narratives and demand nuanced understanding. In Germany, however, the public admiration or glorification of the Waffen-SS remains, rightly, an absolute taboo. The nation has grappled profoundly with its past, striving for a clear moral compass and a deep commitment to remembrance. Scholars continue their vital work, meticulously analyzing the organization's intricate role within Nazi politics, its military campaigns, and its horrific participation in systematic violence. This ongoing analysis is not merely an academic exercise, it is a moral imperative, a collective act of remembrance that ensures the lessons of history are never forgotten. The story of the Waffen-SS's legacy is a profound testament to the power of truth, the dangers of denial, and the enduring human capacity for both immense cruelty and tireless pursuit of justice. It teaches us that history is not a static artifact to be selectively admired or conveniently forgotten, but a living, breathing narrative that demands our honest engagement. It reminds us that vigilance is eternal, that the seeds of hatred and revisionism can always find fertile ground, but that ultimately, the unwavering light of historical truth, pursued with courage and integrity, will always prevail. May we never cease to listen to its warnings, for in understanding the darkest chapters, we forge a brighter path forward for all humanity. This is the true legacy we must carry, the unyielding commitment to truth, memory, and the solemn promise of never again.